How's everyone doing? Linda, Jason, cool. Tonight, I thought I would really talk to you guys about barter and things that you can barter, things that you can have in your preps and stuff to kind of, give yourself a jump point or something to really leverage the inflation that's taking place. When inflation takes place, and in fact, we are seeing it become more and more noticeable, you start seeing barter and trade start to come about. And I was just reading one of my financial reports just the other day that if someone put about $10,000 in a savings account last year, today's worth or buying power due to inflation would be about $8,600. So with the inflation that's taking on right now, we are losing buying power. That's what inflation does, takes away your buying power. It's also, a lot of people consider it a hidden tax and everything because inflation is usually controlled by the government and the Federal Reserve. With that, I have some preps I wanted to show you that you can have to barter. And we're already seeing barter. In fact, what I was noticing is in Facebook Marketplace, I'm already starting to see people trade goods and services to get goods and services. Someone wanted a lawn mowed and was willing to trade, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm starting to see this. And as inflation creeps in, we'll start to see barter and trading start taking place more and more. So I got an itchy nose, allergies. So talk about the things that tonight is things that you can use to barter. Now, even if you don't have a use for these things, it is a good idea to possibly stock up on some of these things. And so the first thing I actually wanted to talk to you about is bullets or ammo. Really good thing to have on hand. Even if you don't own a gun, having bullets to barter with is a great thing. And in fact, I'm going to look at my notes here. What has come about is a bullet economic system is already, or has actually been in place for a while. Hey, Robin, how you doing? And what I've been noticing in the years is bullets are worth a certain denomination according to a dollar. So, for example, a .22 bullet is worth about 10 cents. A 9mm or .410 shotgun shell is worth about 25 cents. A 45 or 12 gauge shotgun shell is worth about 50 cents. A .223 is worth about $1. A .308 is worth about $5. And a 50 cal, it's a big old bullet, is worth about $20. Now, these prices aren't fixed or anything like that, but this is kind of the sliding scale, what I've been noticing out there. So if you want to go trade somebody for something, you can, give 4 or 5 shotgun shells to, and, that'd be worth $2. So, but there is kind of an economic system with ammunition forming. And well, actually, it's been around for probably a number of years. But this is kind of the going price for what we've been seeing for ammo. So even if you don't own a gun, a good idea to do is, pick up some .22, pick up some .410, pick up some shotgun. I mean, this is a bird game, small game loads. I want to say this is running probably about $5 to $7 at Walmart. Easy to get, very plentiful now. And even if you don't own a shotgun, buy several boxes, have some behind, so that you can start building up a barter prep or, barter storage and things. Hey, Mike, how you doing, bud? So this is one idea to have. Stock up on bullets, even if you don't have a gun, because they are good to barter. And you don't have to barter a whole box. You can barter them out. I'll give you 5 9mm for, this whatever. But, bartering and trading during times of inflation have become very popular because inflation, again, steals the buying power away from you. Hey, Joel, how you doing? The next thing that you can look at is weapons, guns, knives, swords, slingshots, you name it, just about any sort of weapon holds value. And so that is a good sort of thing to also invest in, have around. And so for me, I love sharp, pointy, stabby things. So I have a lot of knives like people have, or like, I don't know, people have. I have a lot of knives and swords and sharp, pointy, stabby things. And so But I have enough that if I needed to barter, I could barter a nice Damascus hunting knife and several of the other knives that I may have to barter with. A good knife is always a good barterable item, especially a good hunting knife. This is a really great hunting knife. This is Damascus steel and everything, so it is got a little bit higher price and everything, but it is a solid hunting knife. And this will hold value, or a good trade item that you may want to use to barter with. Another thing that you can do, swords, guns, 410 shotguns. I remember, I haven't bought a 410 shotgun in a while, but I remember there's a Martin, or I believe it's Martin or Winchester. You can get a 410 single barrel, cracked, breech open, 410 shotgun, single shot, for about $80 to $100 at Walmart. I believe they're still selling. If you have a Walmart that still sells guns and everything, the 410 shotgun is a great buy. Single shot, great for squirrels, great for small game, things like that. But this is a weapon that you can purchase with the knowledge that you are going to use it for barter. So that's one weapon that you can do. Let's see. Weapons always hold their value during a economic depression, shit hits fan time, whatever you want to call it. If economic hardship is coming along or something, weapons are a good thing to have. And so, if you're at a gun show or something, you see some knives, you're at a garage sale or something, pick up extra knives, pick up extra weapons, axes, swords, bows and arrows, anything like that. What you want to do, buy them, get them, stick them behind so that you have barterable items. Weapons are great, and especially during times of economic collapse and apocalyptic zombie, invasion and everything. People need weapons to protect themselves. People need weapons to hunt and put food on the table. Brian says, I have 410, 20, and 12. Good job, bud. The next thing that is always a good thing to have, and I know there's a lot of people out there that don't partake in whiskey or high alcohol spirited beverages, but whiskey. Whiskey is a great barterable item. Any sort of alcohol barters. This is a great thing to have. And so even if you do not consume alcohol or anything, start buying bottles of whiskey so that you have something to barter with. This will buy you a lot, especially in hard times. And the reason is that during hard times, during economic hardship, shit hit fan time or zombie apocalypse or whatever like that, people still enjoy sitting back and having a nice drink from time to time just to escape from the world. And so having alcohol as a barterable item, this is very good. This is, vices and everything are really good to have as barterable items. Now, this is something I do enjoy, my double black, Johnny Walker double black is one of my favorites, as you know. But a good barterable item. Now, something else to think about. Those little itty-bitty airplane bottles that you can have or get on an airplane, or you buy them at your local liquor store or something like that. They are excellent barterable items because say you don't really want to sell or trade a whole bottle of whiskey. What you can do is trade or barter several of those little ones and get a deal with something. This is hard to kind of split up and, okay, I'll give you 5 shots for this. That's not doable really. Whereas you can give, 3, 4, 5 of those little itty bottles and barter with that. So, and those are very inexpensive. You can go down to the stores, buy those for $1, $1.50, $2, depending on which ones you're going to get or which brand or what type of whiskey or alcohol you're going to get. But you're going to find that those are inexpensive. These are great to have behind and use as a barterable item. And as we are talking about vice items, tobacco. And this is my Real Men Wear Kilts, what we had from the Brenham invasion last year. But tobacco is a great barterable item. Again, vice items really do well. And the reason is because they're a vice item. But people want to have, ties to when times were good. And so, hey, William, how to do it? So they want ties to times of good. That's why this and this are really in high demand during economic hardship times and so forth. This will give them a remembrance of when times were good. Having a good cigar, having a nice, glass of whiskey and things. So these are very barterable. These are really worth some decent amount of trade value. And that's what you want to look at. What is the trade value? And so things like this are good. Now, I do want to warn you and talk to you about a lot of people with cigarettes. Cigarettes are horrible. They do not last. They do not stay fresh. Even if you stick them in the freezer and wrap them in cellophane and everything, the paper goes old, everything like that. So if you're going to start, stocking up on, tobacco items, what I would suggest stocking up on is pipe tobacco, cigars, or even snuff. That dip, Copenhagen and all that. I still remember how to do that. But, picking up those and holding on to those. And in fact, cigars and tobacco and pipe tobacco are probably my two more favorable ideas, because cigars you can take care of in a humidor, you can take care of in a, what we call a Tupperware, box or something, as long as you have some sort of humidity or some sort of way of keeping these, soft and pliable and nice and humid and everything like that, then your cigar is going to last quite a few years. There's cigars out there that you can buy that are 10, 15 years old, rather expensive, but cigars are made to be, stored. Same thing with pipe tobacco. Pipe tobacco you can store for quite a long time as well, because the sugars and the glycerin and the other things in the pipe tobacco that gives it its flavor is what also helps preserve the pipe tobacco. And so pipe tobacco lasts really long. And so those are good items. Even if you don't smoke, these are good items. And maybe, buy a couple bags of pipe tobacco, stick it back, throw it in your freezer or whatever, and then you have some pipe tobacco or tobacco period that you can use as a barter. And a lot of times pipe tobacco comes in big bags, little bags, whatever, but getting these big bags of pipe tobacco, when the time comes, you break it up down into a dime bag or something, or a small little baggie like that, and you can barter with pipe tobacco. So what else here? Long-term food storage. This is another food. Everybody needs food. And so food is always a good thing to have and use it as barter items and everything. So fresh food, but again, during a hard time and everything, fresh food may not be as prevalent. Not let the time back. So you got it. Food is always barterable. And so the reason, like long-term food storage, this is Thrive. And so this is a 25-year shelf life food can, brand new, never opened and everything. This is something that if I wanted to give this up and barter with it, this is something that could, get me something else in goods and services or whatever else. But barter with this. So I highly recommend getting long-term food storage, and think about once you get to a point where you've got your family taken care of food-wise, then start buying extra so that also then have some on hand to maybe barter with. Other things, another long-term food storage, spam. Spam, 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 spam. And so for those of you who are Monty Python fans, but spam is a great barterable item, and it is made to last on the shelf. I mean, I swear, I think you can probably put it through a nuclear holocaust and it still is good. But you want to know something interesting? Hawaii is the state that eats the most spam. They are like spam crazy over there in Hawaii. But spam comes on all different types of flavors and everything. This one right here is bacon flavored. They make hickory, they make jalapeno, they make smoked, they make regular, they make low sodium, they make, all these different flavors of spam. But this is a great product to just, buy, stick on the shelf, forget the freaking expiration date. That's basically there so that they can sell more. And, oh no, this is like 2023. I need to get rid of this. No, get rid of 2023. So it's 2019, get rid of it. No, who cares? But it's still good as long as the can is in really good shape, as long as it's still vacuum sealed and everything. Spam maintains its, edibleness. But spam is a great thing. Another product that you can think of or have on hand is tuna. And so tuna as well as canned chicken. Now these items may not last as long on the shelf as Spam will, but they do last, and these are very inexpensive. And so you can stock up on these. And again, I'll trade you 1 can of tuna for XYZ, you know. So this is a good thing to have on hand as well. So long-term food storage is something that you want to think about. Other things you want to think about too is getting a good dehydrator. One of the best dehydrators out there is made by Excalibur, and they make a 9-shelf multi-temperature dehydrator, and these things rock. I had to sell mine when I lived in Central America. I still haven't gotten one back yet. I need to get one. These things are incredible, and they will save you money, because any food that you have left over from the dinner before, throw it in the dehydrator, dry it out, get it going, throw it in a mason jar, and start building what I used to call, you know, dinners in a jar. And so after a while, after putting all this stuff in there, throw in some bouillon cubes or some chicken noodle packets or whatever, and boom, you've got, you know, pour the whole thing into water, boil it up, and you've got an instant dinner. You know, throw some rice in with it as well. And again, rice, beans, lentils, any of those sort of grains, they're great to have long term. Pasta is another one that you can have on long term. Put these things, store these things up in like 5-gallon buckets and so forth. And these are food items that will last for a long time. But I say all that is because you can make these jars or make these Ziploc bags or something of a whole meal for the day and use that as a barterable item. So these things are really good. Let's see, Spam talked about, buying rat bite. Oh, one other thing that I wanted, while we're talking about food and everything, kosher salt. Now, kosher salt, or salt period, has a lot of uses. And once, you know, if you're in some economic hardship time, like Great Depression or something, or zombie apocalypse or something like that, then, you know, you want to start storing up salt. You can use salt for so many things. There's medical purposes for salt. There's leather curing and meat curing and all sort of things that you would use for salt, as well as salting your food, making it taste good and everything. But there is a ton of uses for salt, and all of a sudden, if you didn't have access to salt, you would be hurt in life. And in fact, during the Roman times, believe it or not, the Roman soldiers were paid in salt. Linda says, I've been thinking about a dehydrator. Hey, Lindy, what you want to do is get an Excalibur. And in fact, Kilted Insiders, what I am going to be doing is I've been writing an article on this. And so I'll probably send this out in the next couple days with much more detail, a lot of links of where you can get these things and everything. And so that it'll help you, you know, with your food preps as well as your barter and trade preps. So look for that here soon. The next thing that I wanted to talk to you about, and I'm going to spend a little time on this, is gold and silver. These things are great to have on hand. Everybody needs to have gold and silver on hand, so that, especially during a time of inflation. Historically speaking, silver and gold is a 1-to-15 ratio. And so and the reason is it was often tied to a man's daily wage. A man would usually earn 1 piece of silver for every day he worked. And so every 2 weeks or every 15 days, he would finally get paid. And that's why we have the 2-week pay period. It actually comes back from the Roman periods. The Romans actually started that way back when. But a 15-to-1 ratio. So 15 pieces of silver equal 1 piece of gold. And so that's the gold to silver ratio. We've seen gold to silver ratios go up and down and everything. And so to this day, historically, a gold to silver ratio, you know, dating back to the time of Romans all the way to the time of today, if you look at it, it still boils down to basically 15 pieces of silver to 1 piece of gold. Now, that's when there's no inflation or anything else going on. Today, you know, the gold to silver ratio is something like 82. I've got it here in my notes, but 82-to-1. And so the gold to silver ratio is greatly inflated, you know, very, very huge. But the interesting thing is that gold and silver have maintained their buying power no matter what is going on. So, for example, an average cost of bread is 1/10 of a silver piece. And so let's call it a silver ounce or anything. But if you break that down to today's prices, the price it costs of bread is $2.87. So bread is in and around that price. The average tank of gas is about 1/4 of a silver piece, which again today is sitting about $5.71. So if you live in California or New York or some of these areas, you're already paying that price. So again, it isn't perfect, but it still is pretty close. The average cost of a handgun is 20 to 30 pieces of silver, which costs about $500 by a nice Glock 19. And so again, right around the same price. An average man's suit. Now this is a full working suit. So that means suit, shirt, nice belt, nice shoes, nice tie, socks, everything. You're looking about $1,800 to $2,000 for a nice looking suit. I'm not talking about going down and getting the El Cheapo, what is it, a Men's Warehouse suit or anything like that. I'm talking about a good suit that will look good on you and was a working man's suit. You're going to spend about $1,800 to $2,000. And the price of gold today is actually sitting at $18.89 per ounce. So again, it's right in there. The average home costs about 100 ounces of gold, and that's being about $180. And so the national average today is what? About $180. So again, gold and silver are maintaining their economic buying power, even though it's kind of closely tied to the dollar and everything. The thing is as the dollar inflates, it's gonna, your money, your buying power is going to go down. And this is why gold and silver is an excellent form to hedge against inflation. And so it will maintain your wealth. You won't see the prices go down. If anything, during inflation, we've always seen the prices of precious metals go up because it's going to take more dollars to buy the precious metals. So they are really a very good thing to have. So why do you want gold and silver in your preps? The base power, again, our dollar today, realistically looking, has zero value. The only thing backing our dollar is trust and faith in that piece of paper. This is why it's called a fiat currency. Our dollar used to be backed by gold, but it is no longer. So back in the days when gold and silver was our backing power, if you took $1 and you were supposed to be able to get at least a silver dollar back, and a silver dollar. So this is a real, minted silver dollar from the U.S. Mint. They still mint the money, and it is money. Now, if you would go and try to turn this into the bank, they would only give you one piece of paper, a dollar bill for this. But the U.S. Mint still mints money. This is money. What we are spending today in paper is fiat currency. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, is this is a fiat currency based on the faith and trust that this piece of paper is holding value. What's happening right now in the world with inflation and everything is that the people's trust is starting to degrade. And so the buying power of the piece of paper is starting to go down. It's taking more pieces of paper to go out and buy groceries. It's taking more pieces of paper to buy gas. It's taking more pieces of paper to do other things. But with gold and silver always somewhat maintains its buying power no matter what, the situation is. So it may take you more pieces of paper to buy this than later or earlier, but no matter what, this will still basically buy you the same thing that you need. So if you need a handgun, you're going to need about 20 or 30 of these pieces of silver. If you want to buy, 4 gallons of gas, you're going to need one of these to buy 4 gallons of gas. And so these are reasons why you want to have gold and silver in your preps. And, you think, oh, well, inflation can't happen here, so blah, 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 blah. Don't kid yourselves. And this is something that I've written books about and everything, is economic collapse, economic hardship. We've been through several of them. We had the Great Depression. We had another one in the 60s. We had another one in the 80s. We had one in 2008. And so we are seeing a lot of economic hardships and economic flexes where, people lost a lot of money due to inflation. So other examples of inflation, very huge examples, is the Weimar Republic that took place in 1923. And let's see, what here? In 1923, It cost 250 marks January 1923 to buy a loaf of bread. It was risen to 200 million marks by November 1923 because of hyperinflation that took place. In 1918, the cost of bread was only 1 mark. And so in Germany, they had that hyperinflation. And it got to a point where a pair of shoestrings or shoelaces cost more than what the person used or to purchase a pair of shoes. A broken window cost more than it would to actually buy a home. So hyperinflation just sucks the value out of your buying power. And so that's an example. Another more future example is Zimbabwe. And I think they're still kind of facing their hyperinflation situation right now. But the government suffered such raging inflation due to political and social instability that they had to actually print $100 billion bills. And I used to have some of these. I just probably packed away somewhere because we're still unpacking. But $100 billion Zimbabwe dollars. And the interesting thing is, there was a famous picture of a Zimbabwe $100 billion note with 3 eggs. The thing is, that $100 billion note could not buy those 3 eggs. Egg cost $125 billion, so you needed almost 4 of those notes. So it cost you $475 billion Zimbabwe dollars for 3 eggs. And that's what hyperinflation does. It goes crazy and everything. So this is why precious metals are very good to have on hand to protect you again and hedge you against inflation. Gold and silver always has value, and I'm one who sees this as God's currency. It was created by Him. It is never going to go away, and it will always hold its value. Now, a lot of people are going to ask, well, what do you like, gold or silver? I am someone who really likes silver better, and here's why. And this is the time. The historical average, again, is 1 piece of gold to 10 to 15 pieces of silver. So let's just call it 1 to 15. That's always been kind of historical norm and everything. So today's value is greatly underrated. And so if you would purchase silver today, it would be 81 to 1. The price of silver is sitting today at $22.90, and the price of gold is sitting at $18.89. And what you do to find out the ratio is you take the gold price and divide it by the silver price, and that tells you how many ounces of silver it would take to buy 1 piece of gold. And again, remember, historically, it's 15 to 1. So 15 pieces of silver to 1 piece of gold is what you would need. Now, the interesting thing is during the Great Depression and then during other forms of hyperinflation and everything, the historical gold to silver ratio always went back to a 15 to 1 ratio. So if you bought silver today and got it and put it in your preps and everything, you would actually gain a lot more because your silver would actually jump up in price, being today's price 81 pieces to 1 piece of gold versus what would be the historical norm, 15 to 1. So that's reason number 1 why I like gold. Again, during economic hardship, and a lot of people go out and buy gold and everything. The great thing about this is that during times of economic hardship, you can go into a gas station and say, hey, buddy, listen, I'll give you this if you give me 8 gallons of gas, a loaf of bread, a gallon of milk, some ding-dongs, and a Slurpee. And he might even throw in a quart of oil for you, and he will take this. This is great. That's a good, even, fair trade. Whereas if you went in with a 1 ounce of gold, let's call this a double legal $20 gold piece, how the heck do you make change for that? You're not. And so this is another reason why I really favor silver right now over gold, because this is actually tradable right now, today, if something is going on. And so you can go in and trade this. You can go to a gun show and buy a gun. You can go to, sporting goods. You can go to somewhere or someplace on eBay, on Marketplace or something. Someone is willing to trade you this for goods and services today, and you would probably get a pretty good deal. And so that's another reason why I like this, is that you can use this today for trading and bartering right now Or a gold piece or a double eagle or something like that, it'd be rather difficult. That is, unless you're not buying a high value item. Now, if you're going to buy a high value item like an AR-15 or something like that, or some other high value item, boat or something, then you could use pieces of gold. But in everyday goods and trades and services throughout the day, a silver piece is actually very tradable, very barterable, and people want these. So that's reason number 2. Reason number 3 is that silver is sitting today at $22 an ounce. I want it's 22.87, and versus gold is sitting at $1,889, $1,889, and it's a lot easier and more economically feasible to buy these versus one piece of gold. And so I highly recommend, if you're going to start getting into precious metals and everything, then look into buying silver. Very good, very rated, and the gold to silver ratio right now is outrageous. So anytime during economic collapse or economic hardship and everything, the prices of gold and silver always starts coming closer together. So that means your silver will go greatly up in value, and your gold will go up in value as well. But how many people can go out and buy multiple ounces of gold versus buying multiple ounces of silver? I would rather have a lot more silver on hand and allow that economic hardship and the gold silver ratio come closer together, because I will be able to buy more with this. So it's just a great idea. So if you're looking at doing this, what I'm going to be doing is this is a rather large report that I've written. I'm going to expand on this and everything. So if you're a Kilted Insider, I will send this out in a couple days. And then what I will do is I will have links to a lot of the things that I'm talking about. I'll give you links and places on maybe where you can start buying gold and silver from, where I've used in the past and everything. But it'll be a very good document to help you kind of get you kick-started on maybe what you want to do with your gold and, with your barter preps, your trade preps, and start thinking about things of what you want to use for barter and trade, such as, weapons and ammo and spam. Now, spam you can get at Kroger's and Walmart and all those other places. But in my document, what I will be doing is I'm talking about other products and things to really help you with your food preps and your trade preps and so forth, and give you links to all those things. So you might make sure that if you're a Kilted Insider, keep an eye out for that document. Also, I did send out that Where There Is No Doctor. Hopefully everybody got that. And I did get a couple emails back saying that people really enjoyed that and things. So if you did enjoy that and you're a Kilted Insider, do let me know that you are liking these documents that I'm sending out. They're helping you and everything. I have another document that I will be sending out probably in a week or two called Where There Is No Dentist. And this is the follow-up to Where There Is No Doctor. Both of these books are outstanding books to have on hand. Keep them on your Kindle. And then this way, they're in PDF version. You're not going to need access to the internet or anything like that to read them. Flip your Kindle on, boom, and you're able to read these documents. So I'm very pro Kindle. And because then even if there is no internet, your Kindle still works and you're still able to read your PDFs and everything. It's a great way to store a lot of information in a simple, small, little compactable, easy to charge with your car or wall or solar panels or whatever else. But I'm a very pro Kindle person. And so that is everything. Good show tonight. I hope that you really benefited from it. I hope if you have any questions, do reach out to me. I'm here to help. I want to give any sort of knowledge, insight that I can to help you get going and everything. That's what we're here for. And so that's everything that I can think of, folks. I'm Raymond Mhor. We'll see you. Goodbye. God bless. And kill on.